Big news for ASAP Rocky. He's officially not guilty of shooting at his old friend Relly. The rapper was facing serious charges, 2 counts of first-degree assault with a semi-automatic firearm, but walked away acquitted. And guess what? His partner, Rihanna, played a major role in helping him beat the case. Before we get into that, let's rewind to where it all started. Back in November 2021, Rocky got into a heated confrontation with a guy he's known since high school, ASAP Relly. The whole thing kicked off over an unpaid funeral bill. Rocky had promised to cover the costs of flying their late friend's body home, but things got messy when that promise wasn't kept. Tensions skyrocketed. Their text exchanges? Straight up hostile. And when they finally met face to face, it wasn't just Rocky and Relly. ASAP Ills and ASAP 12V were also there. That's when things exploded. Relly claims Rocky straight up pointed a gun at his face. He says he panicked, grabbed ASAP Ills as a human shield, and then, boom! Rocky fired 3 or 4 shots, grazing his knuckles. But hold up, that's just his side of the story. Rocky's defense team had a very different take. ASAP 12VY, who testified for the defense, said Relly was actually the aggressor. According to him, Relly was the one pressing up on Rocky, chasing them down, and even attacking Ills before Rocky fired warning shots to make him back off. Self-defense, plain and simple. And here's the twist. Rocky's team argued that he never pointed the gun at Relly, and to top it all off, the weapon wasn't even real. So, here's the twist. Allegedly, the gun wasn't even real. Yep, Rocky's defense argued that it was just a prop, and that whole story about Relly getting grazed? Turns out, his knuckles were scraped from hitting the ground, not from a bullet. An independent witness even called the police that night, but guess what? When the cops showed up, they didn't find a single shell casing at the scene. No evidence. Nothing. But that didn't stop Relly. He had a plan. Determined to build a case against Rocky, Relly returned to the scene, on his own, looking for evidence. And surprise, surprise! He just so happened to find 2 shell casings. Then, 2 days later, he marched over to the police with them. Oh, and he didn't even go to the hospital until days after the whole thing. Why? Because this wasn't about justice. It was about money. Relly hit Rocky with a $30 million lawsuit, and it's pretty clear what his real game was. The moment he saw Rocky locked in with Rihanna, a billionaire, he saw dollar signs. Text messages and phone records made it obvious. He wasn't some victim. He was plotting from the start. He wanted a payday, plain and simple. Jealousy, resentment, and a thirst for Rocky's bank account. That's what fueled this whole thing. Now let's be real. Rocky's no saint in all this. Firing shots, real or not, was a reckless move. But the way this lawsuit played out? Shady from every angle. Now, here's where things get tricky. There's no footage of Rocky actually pulling the trigger, and his defense swore up and down that he was holding a prop gun. But the cameras did catch him with something that looked very real. And in the audio, gunshots! So, connect the dots, Rocky was shooting. And let's be real, that was a reckless move. What was he thinking? What was he even trying to prove? This man has a whole career, a family, and a life most people could only dream of. And yet, he put all of that on the line over Relly? A dude clearly looking for a come-up? If things had gone differently, Rocky could have been staring down 24 years behind bars. That's nearly a quarter of a century. And all because he turned down a plea deal. Rocky had a lot at stake, but luck was on his side. The jury saw through the mess and ruled in his favor, for good reason. First off, the shell casings Relly found didn't even match the guns the police confiscated from Rocky's home. That gave Rocky's defense team just enough room to push the prop gun argument. Now, let's be real. A lot of people don't buy the prop gun story. They do think he used a real weapon. But here's the thing. Relly was such a bad witness that the jury just couldn't take him seriously. His motives were exposed, and on top of that, he straight up lied under oath. At first, when asked if he sent texts to Rocky right before the altercation, he said he couldn't remember. But then, he switched it up, admitting he did send messages but deleted them. Oh, and before the trial, he told prosecutors that Rocky pressed a gun to his stomach. But on the stand, he changed his story and said the gun never touched him. And if that wasn't enough, Relly swore he never fired a 9mm gun in his life. But guess what? Video evidence showed him at a shooting range just 2 weeks before the incident, firing that exact type of gun. So, with a witness this messy, it's no shock the jury just wasn't buying it. And honestly, who really knows? Maybe Relly even planted those shell casings from his own trip to the shooting range. Wouldn't be surprising considering all the lies he got caught in. He even denied telling a friend that he planned to beat up Rocky if he didn't cough up the funeral money. But guess what? That was a straight-up lie. Receipts don't lie. He did send messages saying exactly that. And there were even more texts where he was straight-up trashing Rocky, calling him fake, saying F Rocky, and making it crystal clear that he had major animosity toward him long before this whole incident went down. It just shows this wasn't some random altercation. Relly had bad blood brewing for a while and was looking for a way to cash in. Now, his lack of credibility was a huge reason why the jury didn't take his side. But let's be real, Relly fumbling this case wasn't the only reason ASAP Rocky walked free. One big factor? Rihanna! Rihanna isn't just a global icon, she's a billionaire. People love her. The moment she stepped into that courtroom, heads turned. She was there for Rocky every single day. And she didn't just come alone, she brought their babies. And that right there, that was strategy. Some people questioned why she'd bring their kids, but the answer is simple. Optics. She was showing the world, and more importantly, the jury, that Rocky isn't just some reckless rapper, he's a family man. The message was loud and clear. You can't take this man away from his family. And let's be real, some of those jurors were definitely Rihanna fans. Seeing her in that courtroom standing by Rocky with their kids, that had to hit different. Now, I'm not saying the jury was so starstruck that they ignored the facts, but let's just say Rihanna's presence didn't hurt. At the end of the day, the jury did look at the facts, and they saw exactly what kind of game Relly was playing. His messy behavior, his contradictions, and his obvious thirst for a payday were enough to completely turn them off. But let's be real, the real MVP of this case? Rihanna! She was the key factor in Rocky walking away free, and honestly, I'm happy for them. Nobody wants to see a family torn apart, especially over something this ridiculous. Imagine Rocky sitting in a prison cell for up to 24 years over a case built on jealousy and lies. Now, if he had actually done something worthy of that sentence, that'd be a different story. But this was nothing more than a spiteful, bitter attempt to extort him. And seeing Rocky almost go down because of it, that would have been tragic. So I'm glad he won. I'm happy for Rihanna and their babies. Their family deserves to stay together. And the moment that verdict was read, you could feel the relief. Rocky ran straight to Rihanna, jumped on her, man was ecstatic. And Rihanna, she and the family were in tears. It was a powerful moment. And her response to the verdict? Pure gratitude. She said, "The glory belongs to God and God alone. Thankful, humbled by his mercy." As for Rocky, his reaction said it all. No doubt about it, God came through for Rocky. He's lucky, and he better know it. This was a huge wake-up call, and I really hope he takes it seriously. Because let's be real, he needs to clean house. The days of running with the streets? Over. Rocky has 2 kids now. He's with Rihanna, a billionaire. He's a millionaire. He's got everything to lose, so there's no excuse to be caught up in drama like this ever again. This whole mess with Relly never should have happened. Hopefully, Rocky finally realizes that some ties just aren't worth keeping. It's time for him to elevate, move smarter, and protect everything he's built. Now here's the wild part. Prosecutors actually threw Rocky a deal. They offered him a plea agreement where he'd admit to 1 felony assault charge, get a suspended sentence, take a few anger management classes, and do some community service. Basically, no jail time. But Rocky said nope, flat out refused, and that move has the internet in a frenzy. Some folks are out here calling him reckless for turning down what they're branding a sweetheart deal. Others are saying the deal itself was a joke, because according to them, Rocky didn't even do what they're accusing him of. And then, of course, you've got people pulling out the Tory Lanez case for comparison saying, if Tory got 10 years, this ain't looking good for Rocky at all. But is that really the case? Is Rocky's situation just as bad, or is this something else entirely? And what about Rihanna? Where does she fit into all of this? But what do you think? Was this trial a wake-up call for Rocky? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And while you're here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.